welcome one and all to the finale of Let's Play Metroid Fusion. I kind of slipped up and accidentally ran into a navigational room when I shouldn't have done that until after I finished my expansion collection. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to edit this part into, like, the finale, but then, like, the rest of the endgame stuff, like the final boss and all, will be edited into this video. So, without further ado, what the fuck is going on? No ums or buts. Yeah, they really don't want us here. Apparently not. I don't think the whole message being sent of there being no survivors didn't make it apparently clear to them. Just now? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, this explains a lot. Yeah, and even, I mean, like, what would they know? Samus is probably, like, the only one who's actually gone head-to-head with these fuckers. It's not necessary. Samus would know more than anybody else! See, like, I don't get the whole idea of, like, people saying Samus never had character up until, like Other M, but, like, you see this in Fusion, you can definitely tell, like, she's the kind of character who will get scarred by, like, she's the kind of person who can see, like, the dangers of this sort of abomination, and, like, yeah, it's like, I don't blame her for this viewpoint. I also think that it's cool that they didn't let Samus talk until the end now, just to kind of see, like, how much of her monologue really comes into play when it's built up to this very moment. So that's why they didn't suggest us going after the Saiyx. Because technically we could have killed the Saiyx, but they're like, oh, it's too powerful. Really? Then explain to me why a Core X absorbed it. Huh. Okay, see, this kind of makes sense. So, like, obviously, if their goal is to have Samus not do as much as she can to kind of contain the X, then obviously you don't want her, like, going off and killing everything and potentially becoming more powerful than the Saiyx and just wiping them out completely, despite, you know, implying that that's probably what they wanted her to do in the first place. But it's just like it's one of those hidden agenda things, you know? Bravo, Samus. They're already underway. Fools. I think Samus is, like, the only one in this universe who sees just how stupid the Galactic Federation actually is. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a scary thing to think about, because, like, now you have the X-Parasites absorbing the humans, and then they could possibly, like, you know, escape onto a ship and then infect more humans. It's like, yeah, they're going for knowledge, but it's like, they're not really... Even then, they don't really know, like, what kind of endgame for sure what they're going to do with this kind of knowledge, other than, you know, instinctively seek out more, like, prey to feed upon. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Are we really resorting to destroying another planet? How many planets has she blown up? I mean, I guess this is nothing new to Samus, but like, god damn, we really are taking like preemptive measures here. And like, that's kind of a heroic thing when you think about it, because like Samus is supposed to be the bounty hunter who's doing these missions just for money, right? But like, I don't know, the fact that she feels like she could go out of the way and do this to save galactic, like, mankind or whatever, like, I feel like that kind of like thinking, like, yeah, it's like, no, she doesn't care if nobody else is on her side. She's doing what's right, you know? Like, there's probably nobody else out there to really, you know, support her in this time of need. But she's still, like, sticking with her beliefs and doing what is right all the way. And that, to me, is what makes Samus a true goddamn hero in this universe, you know? Probably because she's seen, like, what it's like to lose shit. If anybody's done their Metroid research. Oh. Yeah, I guess she never really did Cal or Adam until this point, huh? Who is Adam? A friend of mine. And what would this friend advise you to do now? See, I'm really wondering if they had planned out, like, these events that had transpired in Other M in advance for something like this, you know? Like, maybe they didn't realize that, oh, hey, Adam wouldn't have... Adam went and made a pointless sacrifice in Other M, but, like, at the end of the day, he does sacrifice himself anyway. Why, yes, actually. He kind of does, when you think about it. Oh my god. The irony. Like, you know there's something wrong when even Nintendo sees, like, there's something really stupid about what it would look like, you know, in theory, for something like that to happen. But that's literally what Adam does in Other M. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to judge Other M into this, but I can't help but bring it up when a lot of, like the threads that Other M brings up is because of what Fusion had introduced in the first place. He would understand that the some must live and some must die. He knew what it meant. He made that sacrifice once. So he chose life for you, our fair warrior, Samus Aran. Your Adam gave his life so that he might keep yours, for the sake of the universe. How foolish. Detonating the station in high orbit would not guarantee the complete extinction of X-Parasites. Even though the station would be utterly destroyed, you would only succeed in removing the one obstacle to the galaxy's ruin. So are you implying that Samus is strong enough to possibly bring... That's actually another thing to think about too, like the whole thing about Samus getting stronger and them being afraid of seeing that happen, like, it makes you wonder, like, does the Galactic Federation truly see Samus as a threat? Like, they probably do. Because if she were to go and do something against their orders, it's like, she's so powerful, it's not like they could go and stop her, because she's basically a decked out arsenal of, like, the galaxy's most powerful, fearsome, like, assortment of all of these different, like, weapons and tools and shit, you know? And you really don't truly realize how powerful Samus really is until Fusion brings up this point. Huh? Hmm? Oh, I thought she wanted to confine us. Well, this is endgame, guys. I love that shot, by the way. I feel like that's the kind of, like, point in the game when Samus realizes that this computer might not be your average everyday computer. That's an order. Any objections, lady? So yeah, they found a way to take a dead commanding officer and transfer his conscious into a computer. And I think it really took, like, Samus, you know, bringing up something that she thought Adam would do, but then she didn't quite know Adam as well as she thought she did, and then she got corrected like a bitch. And it's like, oh yeah, no, what you're doing is kind of stupid. Here's the better way to do this and guarantee your safety at the end of the day. And I think that's this game's just full of surprises, man. Alright guys, I'm gonna meet you over in the main deck, but for now, I kind of accidentally did this a little too early. So, yeah, I'll see you guys over in the main deck when we go and start the endgame stuff. Okay, we are back. We totally didn't just beat the game off screen or anything, because we had to go and get the rest of the expansions. I honestly didn't even know that. Like, I didn't know the sector hatches locked until you went and beat the game and then revisited those sectors for those set expansions. Like, I never knew that, and that was probably because, like, you know, all of these years, you know, beforehand when I used to go through Fusion, I either already got all of the expansions because I used to play Fusion way more often, or, like, I was young and just got them after I beat the game anyway. So, yeah, that's going to be apologetic on my end. I am so sorry for that. But now that we officially have everything, and it's not like you guys saw it anyway, we're gonna go ahead and tackle the end game of Fusion. So, up here is a recharge station if you need it. Just gonna go ahead and keep that in reference for right now. And Fusion's endgame is honestly pretty short and sweet. You're not really going through any specific endgame area, if anything, really. It's more like just bringing closure to a lot of things that have been up in the air, like with the Metroid twists, finally getting our revenge on a certain something that we've been running away from through the entire game. And, yeah, I'll bring more thoughts on to how I think of that overall as we progress further into this. But yeah, let's go ahead and, fuck you, scripted advance! Alright, so this is the SAX, and we finally had the tools to bring this fucker down. So, what I like to do is that after every hit, I usually like to hit it with a charged wave beam, not that you can really use your missiles to do damage to it anyway. And after I shoot it, I try to get it in a way to where I can get around it as it's space jumping, and then shoot it with another wave beam. And if you can perfect this loop enough, the SAX doesn't become too much of a problem. Stop that. Get over here. But yeah, it just feels so good. The thing that we've been hunted after, you know, the whole game, we finally had the tools to just go and mutilate this fucking thing. But at the same time, the satisfaction doesn't quite feel like it's there anymore. Not that we know there was 10 of these goddamn things, but yeah. Phase 2 is literally nothing to write home about. Just shoot it, run a fair bit away, shoot it, let it jump again. I got a bit reckless there, I won't lie, but yeah, that's the end game boss fight in a nutshell. I feel like it's less of a challenging fight and more so a fact that you get to actually kick this thing's ass, and not only kick its ass, but murder it in its sleep, basically. Oh yeah, and this thing has one more upgrade in tow for us, huh? I guess I lied. Let's see what that is. What has the SAX been hiding from us all this time? Or we can just do that, I guess. Alright. Not that we were here for this SAX's upgrade anyway. Alright. Looks like this is where we put things to an end.
Propulsion sequence
I like the decor of this room too, by the way. Just gonna randomly throw that out there. Yeah, so we're gonna send this thing crash landing into SR388 and blow up another planet in our sleep. Or in our step, rather. This is just an everyday occurrence for Samus, apparently. So, yeah, we have another escape sequence. Another endgame escape sequence. Because you couldn't have another Metroid game without one, I suppose. But, yeah. Remember that recharge station I alluded to? Let's go ahead and take care of things while we're at it here. Because we may or may not need it. Except, now that I think about it, not really, because it wouldn't really make much of a difference. Okay, I need to stop being so spoilerific. But hey, this is a 16-year-old game. I'm pretty sure most people who are watching this playthrough have already either watched a better Let's Play of somebody else doing it, or have already played this game by this point, but I don't know. I'm here to have fun and share my insight on the game. Because the whole first experience thing has already been done by somebody else at this point, so... Oh, and yeah, this is not the docking bay as I remembered it. Also, where the fuck is my ship? And that looks like one of those weird egg casings I saw over in Sector 1. What's going on? Oh, hey! There's that Omega Metroid I was looking for. I was wondering when you'd show up. Come on, get on. God damn! Are you telling me the Galactic Federation somehow made Metroid stronger than the ones we fought on SR388? If so, god damn. I can't even imagine what they'd be able to do with this kind of firepower. And yeah, just to go and show right there and then that even this SAX can become somebody else's bitch. But right, onto it, guys. Final boss of Metroid Fusion, and I can kind of see what they're going for. Even the whole design of the new Omega Metroid here compared to how it was in Metroid 2. I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of the Mother Brain from Super Metroid. The way you approach it and all, like hell, even down to the whole idea of getting a better weapon to fight it mid-fight. But I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't really leave the same effect on me as it did with the Mother Brain. So here it just seems more like a case of, oh hey, get the fuck out of my way, please. Instead of it actually being kind of a big deal because the last baby Metroid in the galaxy died before your very eyes and you saw how much of a real asshole Mother Brain was. I don't know. It was a cool homage to Super Metroid, I won't lie, but this fight, I don't know. Kind of an underwhelming final boss fight to end Metroid Fusion, but what can you really do, you know? I mean, you have the Space Pirates and Metroid's gone, for Christ's sake, so... Oh, and by the way, I'm doing this now because, that thing we just got, the Ice Beam, yeah, they even count that as part of our inventory, which I think is kind of cool, actually. And it gave us a new orange-looking suit, so I guess... we're officially stronger than we were in any other Metroid game now, apparently, because now we can absorb X-Parasites. We don't have the weakness to ice that, you know, Metroids would normally have. I guess you could say Samus is pretty much untouchable at this point. Just another day in the line of duty of Samus, blowing up planets. That perfect military mind. The wisdom of Adam Malkovich continued to serve even after death. Until today, I had no idea that the minds of leaders and scientists were frequently uploaded to computers. My incredible reunion with Adam may have saved the universe. But how will the beings of the universe view our resolve? I doubt they will understand what we did. The danger we barely averted. They will hold tribunals and investigations. They will hold us responsible. Adam understood this. and he spoke to me in my anger. I like this because, like, it's showing you that, like, we kind of did an anti-hero thing at the end of all of this. Like, yeah, what we did was right, but that's because Samus was the only one seeing, like, out of all of this, that what the Galactic Federation was doing was kind of a shitty move. And now she's quite possibly an enemy of the Federation now. That's crazy to think about now that I think about it in hindsight, but do not worry. One of them will understand. One of them must. I wonder if we'll ever find out what that one person is in the future. I've reflected upon his words, and I will see the wisdom in them. We are all bound by our experiences. They are the limits of our consciousness. But in the end, the human soul will ever reach for the truth. This is what Adam taught me. Just one detail still bothers me. This ship can only be started manually. Yet, before I faced the Omega Metroid, the ship moved on its own, guided by someone's hands. Is it possible? Adam? Lady, what's troubling you? You wonder how I started the ship? Just think about it. They lent me a hand. I mean, they did escape planet Zebes in some kind of ship after all. I mean, it's not totally out of context, I suppose. Makes sense. I mean, I'm glad they actually acknowledged that, but yeah. That, my friends, was the end of Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is a really solid, like, entry point to the series, I find. It's not going to be quite as open as, you know, most other 2D Metroids will be, as far as, like, where you're given the freedom to go and explore. But it still feels very much like a Metroid game. You're still having to go and find out, like, hey, how am I going to tackle this obstacle? How am I going to find, like, this hidden route to my objective? I mean, hell, you saw towards the end, like, they stopped just giving us the objective locations altogether, and we're like, oh, hey, have fun. But yeah, the biggest selling point of Fusion over the others, I find, is definitely its narrative. It does kind of kill replay value a bit, because it's a lot more story-driven than other Metroid games, in the sense that you're having to scroll through text every single playthrough, and you can't just press the start button to skip it all like you can in modern games. But I like this whole idea of, like, you know, getting behind a helm and trying to understand, like, you know, the limitations and, like, all of these different things that the X can do. And I felt like Adam was, like, the perfect supplement of, like, showing you just, like, what all of these things that the X can do. That was the biggest thing I liked about the story. The further you went, the more of a threat you started understanding of what the X can potentially do. Like, the fact that they can steal knowledge, absorb it from their prey, and actually use it against Samus in a way that other antagonists can't, I think that's pretty genius. I mean, they had to come up with something, because, like, the Space Pirates and Metroids are pretty much eradicated at this point, and I think, like, the whole idea of Samus basically going against herself was really cool. But yeah, this is probably the best game in the series story-wise, but now we have to ask ourselves, what happens after the events of Metroid Fusion? Where would we leave off from this? Will Samus be able to go back and plead with the Federation? Oh. 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 Yeah. For those living under a rock, this is actually canonically the last game in the Metroid timeline. After all of the Prime games, after all of the 2D games, hell, this is actually the last 2D Metroid game that isn't like a remake or spin-off of some sort. So, yeah, we've been left hanging for like a good solid 16 years wondering what's gonna happen next. I don't really know what they could do, to be honest with you. But, yeah, that's officially the end of it all, really. I mean, it's good closure. Like, if the series, you know, later, you know, in the long run just decides that, oh, hey, Fusion's just going to be the end point, I think it's a pretty solid conclusion to the series overall, because I really can't think of like what else Samus would really do besides go up against the Federation and possibly blow them up or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, Metroid Fusion, if I had to guess, I'd say this is probably my 5th favorite game of the entire series. I used to be one of my absolute favorites for the longest time, but going through and playing more Metroid games kind of, opened my eyes up a little bit. But man, this game, it holds a lot of nostalgic, sentimental value to me. It's one of the most nostalgic games I've ever played through growing up. Right up there with games like Super Mario Advance and Wario Land 4. So, yeah, I hold this game pretty near and dear to me. But yeah, that's going to be the end of Metroid Fusion. We've got one little Easter egg / bonus episode coming up next. I hope you guys are all down for that. I kind of alluded to that in one of the earlier videos, but you'll be able to see it in full action after this. And then as far as LP plans are concerned, I'm feeling some Metroid, so we're going to be playing Metroid Prime after this. Yep, the big one. The one that, sure, Super Metroid might have, been the big genre innovator, but Metroid Prime is what turned the series into a blockbuster, hit. To an extent. I wish the sales could speak more numbers, but yeah, Metroid Prime's going to be up next. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. This has been the end of Metroid Fusion minus the bonus episode. Thank you guys for joining me on this nostalgia trip, and I'll see you guys then.